Um, Welcome, everybody. I'd like to call the May 2017 County Commission meeting to order. The first order of business we have is invocation and pledge. Invocation by Commissioner Kathy Danner and pledge by Commissioner Tommy Little. Please stand.
Dear Lord, thank you for this government body that still allows public prayer before we meet. We ask you to please give us wisdom and discernment tonight as we make decisions for all the county citizens. We lift up the Holland family tonight, following their tragic loss on Friday. We thank you for the sheriff's deputies that volunteered their time to be here tonight, and we pray for protection for all our men and women in uniform. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we have roll call. If you're present, push your present button and confirm. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, let's go ahead and finish right
Okay.
since everybody started.
Yeah. All right. Barb. Yeah, you need to hit your present. Hey, Barb, hit your present button. All right. Yeah, hit confirm.
So Betsy,
All right. All right, and I've heard from Commissioner Hester and Commissioner Ryan, and they're unable to attend tonight, and we wish them well. And backed by popular demand, we have Sheriff's Deputy Becky Coyle. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Deputy Coyle, thank you very much. I can't wait till your CD comes out. And Deputy Coyle is a school resource officer at Scales Elementary, so I think she performs daily over there. So next, we're going to kind of jump around. We've got Debbie Sims with Animal Control, and she's got a special guest she's going to introduce.
Good evening. This is Marley. Marley is a 5-year-old female. We think a miniature pinscher partly maybe, but you know, the trend is to just call them American shelter dogs now because you really don't know. She was an owner surrender. Somebody couldn't keep her anymore, and she came into our shelter. And I'll tell you what, she will violate the no cruising law in Franklin in a minute. She drove over here. I mean, she literally was in my lap. She sees all and hears all and knows all. So if you know anybody interested in a cute lap dog that loves to ride in the car, then Marley is your girl. And we thank you again for highlighting what we do at the shelter and all the adoptions we make in this community and the things we do. We hope they make a difference.
Well, thank you very much. And we hope Marley gets a forever home very soon. Next, we have approval of minutes of the March 13th, 2017 County Commission meeting. They were mailed to each member. I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Milliken and Commissioner Chalifant. All in favor of those as submitted signify by saying aye. Opposed? All right. Next, we have citizens' communication, and our rules allow you, each citizen, to have 3 minutes. We have two different speakers tonight. The first one is Laura Turner. If you'll come forward and state your name and your address for the record, please.
Laura Turner, 1108 Dickinson Lane, Franklin. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. I realize you have some serious school funding issues before you, which are the result of extremely huge amount of growth continually being proved in our county. I think it's important to note that the 6 cities in the county are responsible for pulling 85% of the building permits. The rest are in the county. Of concern to those of us in the Grassland area is the approval of the mega-density Stevens Valley subdivision, which is currently has Grassland school zoning. However, there are no students in the subdivision yet. Some county schools are under capacity and some are overflowing. At times, it is fiscally responsible to use zoning to utilize undercapacity schools. I submit that Stevens Valley students should be zoned for Fairview schools, which are right down Highway 100 from this controversial subdivision. If this is done now, then no students will have to be rezoned, and the traffic on scenic historic county roads, Sneed and Old Natchez Trace, will be reduced. I love and support Williamson County schools. My 3 children went through the Grassland schools and graduated from Franklin High School, and I hope my granddaughters will follow in their footsteps. However, less than 50% of households in the county have a child in school. I hope people in our county can understand the dilemma of people who have lived here for decades and are now on fixed incomes and facing, yet again, another property tax increase. Growth simply does not pay for itself. Taxpayers pay for it. We must slow the out-of-control growth train down before our beautiful county becomes a train wreck, and we are left paying ever-increasing taxes while watching, in standstill traffic, mega residential density destroy our unique, valuable, historic, scenic treasures. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jason Grant.
My name is Jason Grant. I live at 1626 Oak Hall Drive, Brentwood, Tennessee. I'd like to thank the Commission for allowing me to speak to you tonight. And I'd also like to thank you ahead of time for the work that you've been done trying to figure out our school funding issue. Most of the residents in the county do have either a child, a grandchild, or a neighbor who has a child in school. So this is an important issue for us all. Governance is not easy, and now in Williamson County's history is somewhat of an unprecedented time. I know that there's been pats on the backs and the good feeling that we've had in terms of not having to raise taxes like other counties around us have in the past, but we have funding issues, and there needs to be revenues to address those issues. Across the landscape of funding options, however, between infrastructure and some of the other needs that the county has, I can find no more valuable investment than our education. It pays for itself in the long run. I myself am a product of the school system. I graduated from Brentwood High School in 1994. And I can tell you that some of the changes occurring in the area, I applaud. Some of them I understand. but not necessarily a fan of. What I can say about our school system is that, wow, think about this. U.S. News and World Report put out the top 10 high schools in the state. In the top 6, 3 were Williamson County high schools. The other 3, all magnet schools, all of them. We have 40,000 students in this school system right now, and we're doing more with less per pupil. The BEP formula is so broken that our state legislators have thrown up their hands and said, sue the state. We can't do anything about it. We don't have the votes. Even Franklin Special School District receives more per pupil than Williamson County School System does. Our academics are unrivaled. Our students are consistently the best statewide and nationally. I attend a lot of the school board meetings. Carol Birdsong always has to stand up and then spend at least 5 to 10 minutes talking about all the accolades that our students our teachers have won, both statewide and nationally. The more we invest, the more we'll receive. This past year, some of the students apparently got the idea that maybe we should take a look at 3D printing, and they created a bus part that the school system is actually going to use to put in their buses now and save money. Think about that. Students. These are not businesses that have come to us and said, hey, we'd like to contract for services. They did this internally in a classroom setting. We've got a program, an unmanned aerial vehicle program, culinary arts, mechatronics, robotics, which is amazing. This is a public school system again. This is not a private school. This is not a magnet school. This is a school system serving 40,000 students. Now, Bobby Hewlett sits on this. I know he came from our school system. I came from our school system. I moved our family back here. We had a choice to make. My wife actually grew up in Davidson County. And we thought about private school if we lived in Davidson County, but came to Williamson County specifically for the lifestyle and the schools. I can't imagine what it would have been like, my schooling, had we had the options available to us that the kids have now. I am worried about the funding in the school system. Some of the proposals tonight, sales tax, it fluctuates. It's not a dedicated source. I understand that in good times it's great, in lean times it's not so great. There's going to have to be some balance, and I don't have the answers for you. I'm just telling you there's a need. I do know that leverage in finance, because I am a CPA, does add risk. And I think that the option, albeit a temporary solution in terms of utilizing sales tax dollars and leveraging payments, is akin to going to a used car lot and they're wanting to worry about more about your what can you afford on a monthly basis plan than they are about actually what you need to pay for a car. So I would caution the commissioners on that in that respect.
30 seconds, Jason.
Thank you, sir. Ideas. What about an endowment? Yale has an endowment. Harvard has an endowment. Stanford has an endowment. And the last time I checked, we're sending all of our students to those schools. So why not have an endowment for the Williamson County school system? 17th wealthiest county in the nation. I'm sure we can get together with some of our financial professionals in the community and figure it out. I implore you to look at possibly merging the Franklin Special School District into the county. There's redundancies that can be eliminated in that respect. And from a rezoning standpoint, there's a giant hole in the middle of the map that I think really, really complicates things when you're looking at trying to move students from one school to another. And lastly, I encourage you to continue to find good solutions to the challenges. It's not easy. I'm not up there. I'm down here in the cheap seats. I get to call shots at you. But I encourage you all to try to work together. I know that your constituents have talked to you about this issue over and over again. I know that you're concerned about some of the issues that were addressed by the previous speaker with respect to taxes, and they are noteworthy issues to be addressed. But I think collectively you all can figure it out and make us proud. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes citizens communication. Next we have communications and messages, and we have 4 late filed resolutions tonight. The first one is 5/17/33. So, and that was in your packet. If there's no objections, I think it's at the end of appropriations. Or no, it's end of other. I'm sorry. So, are there any objections to 33? Yeah, couldn't tell you. Okay, Jeff tells me we need to move this up to the end of appropriations, so we'll do that because that involves money. So we're good there. Resolution 5/1734. Is that in appropriations also? No. That's at the end of other. So it's at the end of other, and it's in your packet. Are we good there? 34. And then next we also have 5/1735. Yeah, and it was on your desk, and that's the earmark of the highway funds. Resolution 5/1735. So that'll be at the end of other. So, and then 5/1736 is the sales and use tax referendum, and that'll be at the end of other also. Okay, so we've got 2 objections. We won't hear that one. Yeah. All right. Okay. Now we have a couple of proclamations. Mayor Anderson is in Brentwood swearing in the new elected officials, so I will read those if y'all excuse me. The first proclamation we have is Emergency Medical Services Week. Is anybody here? I'm here. Oh, I'm sorry. Boo. Proclamation declaring May 21st through the 27th, 2017 as Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas Emergency Medical Services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of Emergency Medical Services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas Emergency Medical Services has grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventive maintenance, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the Emergency Medical Services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. Whereas the members of Emergency Medical Services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas Williamson County EMS was the first in Middle Tennessee to receive the American Heart Association's Mission Lifeline Silver Award, recognizing 12 consecutive months of meeting or exceeding performance measures for treatment of heart attack victims, and whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designated Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Rogers Anderson, as Mayor of Williamson County, do hereby proclaim the week of May 21st through the 27th as Emergency Medical Services Week in Williamson County. And be it further resolved, with the theme EMS Strong, Always in Service, I encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. There we go. Yeah. And we have one more. Proclamation declaring May 24th, 2017 as Emergency Medical Services for Children Day. Whereas more than 30 million children receive emergency medical care each year due to illness or injury. And whereas the needs of children are different than the needs of adults in medical emergencies, and whereas the goal of emergency medical services for children is to help states and communities prepare for a medical traumatic emergency involving a child through the provision of properly trained emergency personnel, sufficiently equipped ambulances, pediatric-ready emergency departments, and well-defined pediatric treatment protocols and procedures. And whereas emergency medical services for children relies on its established partnership within the emergency medical services EMS community, as well as physicians and nurses who provide pediatric emergency care to help state and communities reduce child and youth disability and death due to severe illness or injury. And whereas emergency medical services for children, the tens of thousands of EMS providers and acute care professionals it serves, and the more than 25 professional organizations with which it partners are committed to improving the quality of emergency care children receive. And whereas emergency medical services for children works with physicians, nurses, social workers, psychologists, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical responders, telecommunicators, educators, administrators, and others to identify and address the issues surrounding the provision of optimal pediatric care. And whereas it is proper and timely to bring recognition to the value and accomplishments of emergency medical services for children and the dedicated men and women who work tirelessly to improve the quality of pediatric medical care. And now, therefore, it be resolved that I, Rogers Anderson, as Mayor of Williamson County, do hereby proclaim May 24th, 2017 as Emergency Medical Services for Children, EMSC Day in Williamson County, and urge all citizens and health care professionals serving the pediatric population to become familiar with EMSC, its programs and activities in our state and nationally, and to support and participate in educational and outreach programs to increase their knowledge of best pediatric medical care practices. Signed, Rogers Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Appreciate that. As was noted, in 2015, we got the Silver Award from American Heart. This is an award that is based on the treatment that you do for heart attack victims, not cardiac arrest, heart attack victims. And I'm proud to say that in 2015, we received the Silver Award. In 2016, unfortunately, it was after the Commission made the proclamation last week. We received the Gold Award to be the first in the Middle Tennessee. And I'm pleased to tell you I've been informed we will be receiving the Gold for 2017. So those are the occurrences since that. I also had the privilege, just last week, our system received the EMS for Children's Star of Life Award for this region. It was actually based on an adult cardiac arrest save that we had in our system. But when we talk about these awards, I won't go through everything that was in the proclamation, but it's truly the system from the 911 caller, the dispatchers that walk the callers through CPR or first aid instructions, the first responder system that we have in place, our ambulance crews and their interfaces with the nurses and physicians at the hospitals that we transport to. We received that award. That was the second time in the 9 years of the existence of that award that we have received it for this region. So thank you for your support. I believe when your forefathers in the Williamson County Quarterly Court established EMS in 1972, they would have had no way of imagining just what we would have today. and greatly appreciate your support. Because of the time and the agenda, I think he's taken enough of your time on this. Thank you very much. EMS strong, always in service.
This is a proclamation of appreciation for our badge program for our sheriff's office. And I've asked Sherry Clark to come up with me because we both did the Citizens Academy together with Commissioner Hester, who couldn't be here tonight. Proclamation of appreciation. Whereas Community Outreach Ministries is an organization providing help, hope, and healing, and is based in Franklin, Tennessee. And whereas one of the primary programs of Community Outreach Ministries is the Badge program, bringing assistance to deputies who give everything. And whereas the Badge program was established for the Williamson County Sheriff's Office to assist deputies and their families with financial support in times of need, and whereas assistance may include help with mortgage and rent payments, child care, health care, a family crisis or other unforeseen emergency, and whereas the brave men and women of the Williamson County Sheriff's Office have dedicated their lives to protect and to support our community, and whereas it is of vital importance to show them our appreciation by helping them in times of need. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Rogers Anderson, as Mayor of Williamson County, do hereby express appreciation for the Badge program and the men and women it supports in Williamson County, and urge all citizens to join me in this recognition. I would like to introduce Mr. French, who's the chaplain for the Sheriff's Office, and his newest chaplain, Mr. Barham. Mr. Barham. I just wanted, let me smile, okay? Okay, so I just wanted to say, when we attended the Citizens Academy, it was just better than I had anticipated, and I had anticipated it to be awesome. We got 9 weeks every Tuesday night, an intimate sight into the K-9 unit, the narcotics unit, the jail. I got to do a drive-along for 8 hours with one of the deputies, and it's not because I'm a county commissioner, it's just because I signed up for this academy, which anyone in Williamson County can do. And I would highly recommend it. It just showed me the caliber and the integrity of these gentlemen and women is just, they're just the best. And I wish more people knew that we had them looking out for us, because they're a huge asset to our county, and they give us their best, and we deserve, we need to give them our best and support them. Before I go any further, we have bumper stickers that support the Badge program, and all the money goes to the Badge program to help these officers when they run into a needy situation. So, and Sherry, would you like to say anything?
Just that I concur with everything Commissioner Sturgeon said. The level of commitment, the level of training and expertise that these men and women have just blew our socks off. It was astonishing, and so I'm so happy that this program was born out of that experience so that we have a chance to give back. So I highly recommend looking into this and seeing what you can do to give to this program to help our guys, especially in their darkest hours when they're short on funds for all sorts of reasons because of all that they give us. Thank you very much.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
Love to. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Do I speak this way or this way?
You can
I think I can talk loud enough for everybody. First of all, thank all of you for
taking the time to recognize us. We feel like it is an honor to be able to serve the Williamson County Sheriff's Office. I've been there as the chaplain in basically an unpaid role for 17 years. 13 years ago, when we established Community Outreach Ministries, I was able to take that deeper, and just recently we were able to go deeper when we trained 3 new chaplains. So now, instead of just me, we have 4 chaplains who are on call to respond to emergency calls. We deliver the death notifications. We're called into where there are traumatic situations so that we can handle the trauma and our officers can be about their business. You probably don't realize the gym that you have in our sheriff's office. I've been there 17 years. I've watched it grow. I've watched it stretch. I've worked with 4 different sheriffs, and I consider it an honor, a great honor in my life to be working with my friend Jeff Long as a sheriff. He is an unbelievably fine man. Law enforcement is an unbelievably difficult profession, and most studies that are done, it's shown to be in the top 3 as the most stressful professions. And the results in law enforcement's officer's life is pretty dramatic, and you heard in my presentation what those look like. We want to make a difference with them. Besides the emergency calls and all the things that we respond to, the most important thing that Dean and I and our other chaplains get to do is walk with them day to day to help them as they handle that stress, to be there for their families, to be there for them. Because the healthier they are, the healthier county we're going to be. And so we're committed to that. We're excited about it. We do a lot of ministries out of Community Outreach Ministries, but our love for law enforcement has always been at the heart and core of it. Eddie Koutris over here was in that last Sheriff's Office Academy, and I get to do a presentation at that with the sheriff. They approached me later and said, hey, we're thinking about setting up a fund that took care of law enforcement officers when they have need. And they do often have needs. For the last 17 years since I've been there, they'd just come, I'd find out what was going on. One of their superiors would tell me, and I'd reach out to tap people on the shoulder and some of our church partners and raise funds. They came and said, hey, can we partner together and establish a fund, work with the graduates of the Sheriff's Office Police Academy, and there be money there. So I don't have to go raise it every time there's a crisis. It's there. 100%. No check will ever be written out there unless it goes to a Williamson County Sheriff's Office employee who is in need, and they are in need. Most of them can't afford to live in our county. Most of them, Sheriff, 75% have 2 or more jobs. It's very, very difficult. If I could say something to you as a commission, as you're deciding where to distribute your money, you need to look at what we pay our officers out there on the streets, the ones that serve us, the ones that protect us. So we're there to assist in this. We're excited to work with you guys, the commission. Eddie, we appreciate it very much. We need to sell some bumper stickers. Where can they get them? You can contact me at Community Outreach Ministries. We handle the account. It's called a badge account that all that money flows into. Then there's a need, we can take it out of there.
You can also go online and just get a donation if you don't like bumpers.
Yeah. If you go to, yeah.
County badge.
Right. No, badge. Yeah. Go to Community Outreach Ministries. In our website, we have a link just to this particular one thing.
I don't want to plug myself, but if you go to my Facebook page,
there you go.
You will find all the connections you need to on here.
So thank you very much. We appreciate it. Sheriff, thank you for your support, allowing us to do what we do. Thank you all.
On the same theme with the Sheriff's Department, we've got a special guest. I hope when you got here, we had 2 new pieces of equipment out front. I don't know if it's still there or not. We had 2 new Harley-Davidson motorcycles. So for those of us that call and complaining about speeders in your neighborhood, we're working on these. Just so you know, the sheriff negotiated those, and those motorcycles cost us $1 a year. So we appreciate that. Sheriff, are they still here?
I think they're gone.
Oh, okay. All right. So y'all slow down when you leave. They're out there somewhere. Yeah. And this is one of the newest deputies. Who does? Carol? Oh, okay.
So, Fanta is a German Shepherd imported from Germany, and she's been fully trained through narcotics, and is now transitioning over to Deputy Stein, who's going to be working with her for the rest of her life. She's 3.5 years old. What kind of questions do they answer?
And she's a drug dog, or?
Yeah, right now she's a single-purpose narcotics dog. And so she will be on patrolling the streets to keep illegal narcotics off the streets.
Is this the one we're getting from Davidson County? Yeah, we're voting on tonight?
Nashville K9, yes.
Yeah.
So it's private dog training company, not from municipality.
Yeah. Pretty dog.
How many do we have now?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Ali here was kind enough to offer the donation from Nashville K9, and has donated a dog, canine to us before, a couple of years ago now, who has worked out really well. So when we were offered this generous donation, we jumped on that because we knew the quality of animal we were going to get. What's over behind the counter over there? So. Yeah. But a donation of this caliber saves the county about $15,000 in this particular case, so we greatly appreciate it.
Oh, we do appreciate it. I guess we could clean some of the people out, turn the dog loose, and whoever leaves, we.
All right. Thank you, Commissioners.
Very good. Thank you. All right, moving on. Mr. Williams?
Yeah, I just want to take a minute just to formally recognize the loss of Robin Holland. Commissioner Danner referenced her in the prayer. For many of y'all that maybe knew her or didn't know her, she was a long-time standing community member of the Grassland community. If you've been to a football game on Friday night to Franklin High School, she was the color commentator that announced events and recognized sponsors, and just want to send condolences out to their family and recognize the contributions that she made to not only the Grassland community but also the county as a whole.
She's going to be missed. Next, moving on to reports of county offices. I haven't seen Mayor Anderson here, so under his report, we'll hear from Nina.
Good afternoon. In your packets this evening, we have a couple of months' reports since we didn't meet 1 month. The first report is the budget report for March. We're tracking pretty much on target for this time of year. You'll see down in the appropriations in the debt service funds, the largest majority of those have been paid out. Our largest debt payments usually go out the 1st of April. And we'll continue to monitor our revenues as they keep coming in. Also this month, our, let's see, reports from the Marriott Cool Springs Conference Center. The manager was going to be here tonight, but he'll be with us next month as he was out of town to give his report. For February, the county received $14,645. And for March, we received $30,608. Also this month, 2 reports on your privilege tax collections. For the month of February, we had a spike in that month as we started collecting the education impact fee March 1. So we did have a spike on our privilege tax in that month of 2.9 million. And then in March, we were down around to a little over 1 million. Also, we'll start providing to you a monthly report of the collections of the education impact fee. We've not closed out the month of April yet, but I did look in our books, and to date, we've collected a little over $755,000. I think that's all I have for my reports this
All right,
evening. If you have any questions.
Commissioner Sturgeon, you have a question?
Thanks, Nina.
Hey.
Hey, I'm looking at the Cool Springs profit loss statement. I just want to make sure I'm understanding that right. So far this year, there's been $41,000 in profit.
Yes, ma'am.
And is that something we split with Franklin, or is that our total take?
That's our total take, so they would have exactly 50% of that as well. So we get 41, and they would have received 41.
Okay, all right. Do we ever do any kind of return on investment calculations on this, or? I mean, it doesn't sound like very much money to me for an asset like the conference center.
Well, as you look at the prior years, it's an ebb and flow in the conference center right now. Mr. Sanders has been here and given reports on the kind of conferences that we are obtaining there now are being booked. He will be here next month to go a little bit more in depth with that.
Okay.
But to date, we have had a net profit of 2.7 million overall. So
Yeah, but that's over many, many, many years,
Right.
right? I mean,
So-
it looks like starting in 2012, it's been going down ever since. But it's okay, we can wait until next month.
okay.
Thank you.
All right, any other question, Commissioner Danner?
I know, for instance, we own the hospital and they don't contribute any property tax. Does the Cool Springs Convention Center contribute property tax? Do we get any property tax from that, owning that piece of property?
I'm not sure about that. I
Okay,
can double
sorry to put
check.
you on the
I mean, as a business, I can double check on that.
All right, any other questions for
You
Nina?
mean just on the conference center or the hotel?
The conference center,
Okay.
the part we own.
All right, I see none. Thank you,
Okay.
Nina. Next, we'll hear from Director of Schools, Dr. Mike Looney. Oh. Well, you're not Mike.
Thank you, Mr.
Excuse
Chair.
me,
I
Jason
am
Golden.
not Dr. Looney. I'm Jason Golden, obviously, to those of you who know me, not Dr. Looney. Dr. Looney is actually in Brentwood as well. We actually have 3 things on Brentwood's 3-item agenda tonight, including a request for the city of Brentwood to deed a fraction of their Granny White Park to the schools. And Dr. Looney is making a request of them for $2.4 million towards some capital improvements, which he alluded to last month, but had not reached a point with his city administration to be able to talk about it publicly. We did get a text, actually, Leslie Holman, our CFO, got a text that he's on his way back. We anticipate and hope that he'll be here when the items that we have on your agenda come up. Obviously, we have a substantial number of items on your agenda. I did want to, I feel like I could piggyback on every item that's been before you up to this point. I want to make a couple of comments. One, Ms. Holland was deeply involved with the schools, many of us in the schools are going to miss her. I also wanted to mention the drug search dogs. We use them regularly. There's a School Security Act that allows us to do canine searches, and I wanted to emphasize to you that those canine searches are of property only. They don't actually search people. So I wanted you to be aware of that. They don't in our process actually sniff individuals. They go to parking lots, etc. when we and our school administrators determine there's a need. So they've been very helpful. Finally, I wanted to mention to you that there was a praise for the sheriff earlier. I want to echo that. The professionalism of the sheriff and his department have been tremendous for us. And as you all know, you all approved SROs at every one of our elementary school buildings. And our national anthem was led by, as you know, an SRO. It's been a tremendous help to us over the last few years. And I'm not dragging my feet because I'm waiting for Dr. Looney to come, but I felt like it was important to mention that. I did want to give you all an update on our student attendance so far. We're just a few weeks removed from the last day of school, and just in the year so far, we have gained about 1,550 students net. But I wanted to point out one fact to you that you may not be aware of. Since the school year started, we have gained a total net of 189 students. But that net includes minus 159 high school students, because over the course of the year, especially after the first semester, a number of our high school students graduate early. So we have actually gained 304 elementary school students since the school year started. So that's a trend we've been seeing over the past few years, that when you see these net numbers, you actually typically are going to have a larger growth at the elementary level because of that matriculation out as school progresses. And when we talk about rezoning, and you had a public comment on rezoning, I wanted to point out that our school board votes on rezoning, not you. And in fact, the law doesn't even require them to vote on it. It could be an administrative task, but our school board elects to take that responsibility on themselves so that they can be responsive and accountable to our families. But when you see those requests for teachers come up over the course of the year, it's largely going to be related to that growth at the elementary school, because we're a growing community. So with that, we do anticipate Dr. Looney will be back as the agenda items come up. There's been much discussion at the committees for a number of our requests. And if you all have any questions of me, I'll be happy to answer them.
Commissioner Danner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This may be a Leslie question, but you mentioned the money from Brentwood, and thank you very much for negotiating that. I was very curious when it was brought up Saturday. Do you happen to know how much adequate schools facility tax money that the cities collect, and about what percentage do you actually get for schools per year?
I can give you some general answers, and Leslie may be able to give you some specifics. Since that tax was initiated in 2007, the city of Brentwood has gotten in the neighborhood of $6 million, if I'm not mistaken. They currently have, according to their agenda item, $2.35 million in that account, and the request of them is for $2.4 million. And so the agenda item they're specifically presenting, that the administration is presenting to them right now, is actually for $2 million of that by the end of this fiscal year, with the remaining $400,000 in August, because they will more than zero out that fund if in fact they vote to approve that request. So that's a substantial request. Directly speaking, that tax is broken up between municipalities and the county. We don't have any direct access to the municipality money. It's a decision they have to make on where they're going to spend it. So Leslie could give you some specifics about those numbers. Leslie?
What specifically was your question? How much of that adequate schools, that tax is collected by the cities, and what percentage of that do they actually give to the schools?
In actuality, the county collects it, and by the way the act is written, they give 30% back to the cities, and it's based on the city's population, not necessarily the permits that were drawn in that area. To my knowledge, I mean, we have never received any money directly from them. I know the city of Fairview has given some money to the schools in Fairview, and just recently did it again. I know the city of Brentwood gives money to the Brentwood schools, but I don't know if it's specifically the Adequate School Facilities Fund.
Okay.
Commissioner Herbert?
I'm going to be nice. I said I wanted to thank you, Jason, and Dr. Looney, and the school board members during this rezoning process. I've been at several of the meetings, and they can be very difficult and very stressful. I'm amazed at Dr. Looney and the school board members. They have done an excellent job. We may not always agree on everything, but They're very professional. They do a good job, and they have having to make some very difficult decisions. And I just wanted to thank them.
I'll tell Dr. Looney you said that.
Jason did a good job.
Okay.
I believe there's no further questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Are there any other reports of county offices at this time? I see none. Ready to move on? Next, we've got elections and appointments. Stormwater Appeals Board, filling an unexpired term expiring January of 2018. The building contractor rep, John Minton, has resigned, and nomination Robert Adams Jr. I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Osbrooks. All in favor of Robert Adams Jr. signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And he's confirmed. Next, we have the Agricultural Committee, 2-year term expiring January of 2019. The commissioner position, we've got a typo there. It should be term expiring Commissioner Tommy Little in the nomination, Commissioner Tommy Little. Farm woman position, Cherry Lane Darkin. She's nominated Cherry Lane Darkin. In the farmer position, Dan Bond, and he's also nominated for another term. I'll entertain a motion for those. Commissioner Herbert, Commissioner Green, the second. All in favor of those signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And they're confirmed. Next, we have the Equalization Board, filling an unexpired term expiring January of 2019. The Franklin representative, who is now deceased, Owen Reese. Nomination, Fred Gatewood. I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Little, Commissioner Smith. All in favor of Mr. Gatewood signify by saying aye. Aye. All right. Next, we have the Zoning Appeals Board, 5-year term expiring March of 2022. Resigned Steve Worley. Nomination Andrew Ring. I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Osbrooks, Commissioner Chalifant, the second. All in favor of Andrew Ring signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And they're confirmed. Next, we've got the consent agenda. Let's see. So that's on the board. Any resolutions a commissioner wants to discuss? Are we all good on the consent agenda? All right. Do you want it pulled or?
No, I want it pulled. I just want to make a note of the fact that we have a grant that's going to help us recruit more volunteer firefighters. And I just think that's something it'd be nice for people to know.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. Commissioner Osbrook?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am one of the notaries for renewal, so I
Okay.
will be abstaining from the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you for that. All right. Any other discussion on the consent agenda? It's on, I need a motion to get it on the floor. Commissioner Little. Commissioner Milliken, the second. And it's on the machine. If you're in favor of the consent agenda as presented, signify by saying push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. David? All right. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. All right. And the consent agenda passes. Next, we're moving on to old business. Is that 5/17/21? Okay, now we've got Resolution 517-7, formerly Resolution 317-4. Resolution of the Williamson County Board of County Commissioners, approval of an intent to fund of $4,900,000 for design and initial site work for a central high school, middle school, and elementary school. Commissioner Herbert? Commissioner Little, the second. School Board, 11 yes, 0 no. Education Committee? 7-4-0 Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no, as amended.
All right. Explanation, Commissioner Herbert?
Amendments?
Yeah, if you want to make that, that'd be fine.
Okay.
Oh, it's in the packet,
Yeah.
Linda tells me.
Delete the title and replace with resolution for the Williamson County Commissioners' approval of an intent to fund $4,900,000 for design and initial site work for Phase 1 of the Page High and Page Middle School additions. Delete second paragraph and replace with the following. Whereas, based on the most current needs and reevaluation of the 5-year plan, it is necessary to add additional capacity at Page Middle and Page High to address the growth and relieve overcrowding in that area. And in paragraph 4, delete and replace $86,980,000 with $43,030,394 for Phase 1. In paragraph 5, replace the date to read May 8th, 2017.
All right, that's a proper motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Milliken, second. Kate, is it on the board? Any discussion on the amendment? I see none. If you're in favor of the amendment, and it's on your desk, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes.
Resolution passed. Now we're back to the main resolution as amended. Any discussion as amended? I see none. Oh, Commissioner Little.
I have a question because we have a note on our desk that an amendment to Resolution 517-7. And so does this amendment also need to be read into it? If it is, I'll move it.
Well, that's what we just voted on.
Was it? But this is a different. This is a different amendment.
Oh, yes. We do. Yes, we do. Thank you.
I'd like to move that we add this amendment to the resolution. Whereas revenue connected from the Williamson County Educational Impact Fee may be used to pay the principal and interest on bonds, notes, and other related indebtedness for the qualified educational capital projects and are to be the subject to this resolution to the extent that the revenue received from the impact fee is expended in the district which the revenue was collected in the manner that satisfied the nexus principle between the impact of a new sub-residential development and the need for educational capital projects that are the subject of this resolution.
All right, proper motion. Is there a second? Commissioner Bethard? Kate, you got that on the board? All right. Any discussion on the second amendment? I see none. Is there a ball game or something on tonight? If you're in favor of the amendment by Commissioner Little, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
21 yes, 1 abstain.
One abstention. All right. Now we're moving on back to Resolution 517-7 as amended twice. Any discussion as amended? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 517-7 as amended, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
All right, resolution passes. Next, we're moving on to Resolution 517-8, formerly Resolution 317-6. Resolution of the Williamson County Board of County Commissioners, approval of an intent to fund of $17,200,000 for design, improvements, and new construction at Brentwood High and Middle Schools based on the results of the Brentwood Master Plan study. Commissioner Herbert? Commissioner Chalfant, second. School Board, 11 yes, 0 no. Education Committee?
4-0 against.
Budget Committee? 4 yes, 0 no. Explanation, Commissioner Herbert.
This is $17,200,000 for design work, building improvements, and construction for Brentwood Middle and High Schools.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me bring that to your attention in the now therefore be it resolved. There's a typo. That date should be May 8th, 2017, not March 14th. Okay. Okay. And Commissioner Herbert, did you want to make the amendment, or did you, Commissioner Little? Oh, okay. I didn't see you. All right. Yeah, go ahead and make your amendment.
Yeah, I need to read it again. It's the exact same amendment as in the last.
I need to read it again.
I think you can just note that it's the exact same amendment as we had at the last resolution authorizing us to use the impact.
All right. Proper motion is second. Commissioner Bethard. Any discussion on the amendment? See who's number one. Commissioner Osbrook?
Make sure the amendment was
Oh,
ready.
okay, great. Thank you. Commissioner Lawrence? Okay. Do we have another? I don't believe we do. Okay. So we have a proper motion and amendment. No further discussion. Kate, you got it on the board. If you're in favor of amending Resolution 517-8, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. All right. So the amendment passes. We're back to resolution number 517-8 as amended. Any discussion as amended? Yes. Commissioner Lawrence? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Jones?
Dr. Looney, if you come up to the mic, please. So out of the blue million emails we've got, we always hear Jason touched on it earlier on Fund Plan A. I think Plan A refers to a rezoning. After these projects, are we still rezoning in Williamson County?
Yes, sir. Should the County Commission see to approve the capital request that we have tonight, I believe that on the 15th of May, the school board will vote to enact Plan Number A, or I've referred to as A1 now. I would add that the city of Brentwood, just moments ago, agreed to contribute $2.4 million for debt service on these projects. But I think it's really important to know that there was some contingencies with that agreement, and that is that the school board would approve Plan A1. So if we are to receive the $2.4 million, it does have that condition on it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure everybody still realizes we are going through with some rezoning. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Commissioner Lawrence?
I'll just follow up on that question, Dr. Looney. So if we approve this tonight, then A1, is this A1? Is this everything that's included in the A1 zoning?
This in itself is not Plan A1, but this allows the school board to adopt A1. A1 is predicated on you funding the projects, and so you have to fund these projects in order for the board to implement Plan A1.
Okay. I really want to thank you, Doctor, for all your efforts in this whole process. I know it's been hard for all of us. We obviously facing some budget challenges, and on the page issue as well. I know that's been a real challenge with the sewer issues out there, and you and Jason and Kevin Fortney, I think, has knocked on everybody's door who owns a piece of land on Arno Road, and I was grateful that you were able to work something out there. I plan to support this tonight because I think this is the kind of construction or growth that we need to have. We need to try to use our existing facilities if we're going to expand or look for ways to expand there if we can as much as possible to hold costs down. I want to thank all of you for being out tonight, and Commissioner Jones said blue million. I think it was the blue billion emails actually we got from all of you, and you got your T-shirts on tonight, and it's been an overwhelming show of support from the community for this resolution and the page resolution. And I think what I want to point out is I hope all of you realize that through this process that the issue at hand here, it goes beyond a couple of school buildings in Brentwood and Page, and it's going to be an ongoing problem that we have going forward, and that is the issue of growth. And as Laura Turner said earlier, growth does not pay for itself, and what we are facing is the reality of what are we going to do about it. Some of you have sent us emails saying, well, raise my taxes, and that may be something that I think we will probably have to raise your taxes, but I would echo Commissioner Kastner's comment in the last meeting was be careful what you wish for, because I got the numbers from WCS, and I took those numbers and I projected them out. The numbers that Leslie gave us did not include salary increases or benefit increases, so I added 3% a year to those. Just that's an arbitrary number, so my numbers may be a little high, a little low, but at the end of the day, what it showed is within 10 years, your taxes are going to double if we don't find alternative streams of revenue to help us pay for the schools. So what I would like to point out, if you know, just to simplify that, I know we have a lot of people from Brentwood here tonight. In Brentwood right now, your average home tax for the average home in Brentwood is $3,762. If we were to raise taxes this year 10%, we raised taxes 15% last year, that'd be a 26.5% increase over 2 years. Now, if we did that at that pace for the next 10 years, what would your tax be in 10 years? Well, the average tax in Brentwood would be $10,596 on the average home in Brentwood. So that's more than double what the tax is today. And if that happens, I don't think that any of you are going to be sending us an email saying my taxes are too low, because they won't be. But that's what's going to happen if we can't find alternative sources of revenue, because the state requires us to build these classrooms and provide the education for the students. There's not much we can do about that if the growth comes. So Dr. Looney's getting tired of my sermon here, but but what I would love to see all of you do is to remain engaged with us beyond this issue and help us going forward. We need to look at some things going forward. I know the issue of the hospital is one that's a controversial issue. There's different opinions about what we can or cannot do with that. But that's an issue. Other things that we need to look at is going to come up going forward, and I would just ask you to stay engaged and be involved in that process as much as you have in this process, because it is going to be an ongoing battle to fund these schools over the next decade or more.
Commissioner Milliken?
Quickly, because Commissioner Lawrence said a lot of things I wanted to say. Save your shirts and your stickers, because fund our schools. I hope to see you all wearing them when we have a vote for a sales tax increase. I hope you'll keep your signs in front of the neighborhoods, which I drove through over the weekend, and I saw those. It's great that you're here, and we need more of you, and we need more from each of you as we go forward. Spread the word on your Facebook page, which I got to visit. Spread the word south to Franklin. Spread the word south to Spring Hill and over to Fairview, Bethesda, and get more people involved and engaged. And I expect, since I got exactly 516 emails from you, including several phone calls and handwritten letters to my home, thank you, I expect that if I look at the voter rolls, everyone who sent me an email voted. And I expect to see at least 516 votes, okay, from that group to increase our taxes soon, okay? So I'm not going to let you off the hook. I'll be checking. All right. We're glad you're here.
Mr. Chalfant?
I'd like to call the question, please.
All right. Question been called. Is there a second? No. Commissioner Smith. Okay, thank you. All right, question's been called. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Y'all ready to vote? Resolution 517-8 as amended. And if you're in favor, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Okay, we'll move on. Resolution 517-9, formerly Resolution 317-8, resolution of the Williamson County Board of Commissioners, approval of an intent to fund of $6,800,000 for completion of the final phase for the construction of middle school auditoriums. Commissioner Herbert?
Second.
Who's in second? Commissioner Milliken's the second. School Board, 11 yes, 0 no. Education Committee?
It's 7-4 to defer until July County Commission meeting.
All right. Budget Committee?
4-4-0 against to defer until the July County Commission meeting.
Okay. Explanation, Commissioner Herbert? Or do you want to make the deferral?
Deferral. I'd like to defer this resolution for the 2 school auditoriums until the July County Commission meeting.
All right, that's a proper motion. Commissioner Jones, the second. Dwight Jones. Is it loaded? Any discussion on the deferral? I see none. Oh, did you push your button?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that we have built, 8 or 9 of these auditoriums, and now it's time for the last 2. And I don't think it's fair to put it off one more time. I really don't. And I think somebody's decided before we got here that it was good to defer it, but I disagree. I think the Franklin and Grassland area has been overlooked, and this is just one more step in being overlooked. So I oppose deferring this. I just wanted y'all to know that, and I would hope some other people would understand that it's not equitable to give out 9 auditoriums and then hold back on the last 2. So.
All right. Commissioner Kester?
I agree with Commissioner Sturgeon.
All right. Any further discussion? Commissioner Milliken?
I agree with the commissioners, but in the interest of having some data and support as to why people feel as though this needs to be deferred, since I haven't heard any, I'll call Dr. Looney back up to the podium. Dr. Looney, if this is deferred until July 2017, is that going to have any impact on the start date on these auditoriums? Best of your knowledge.
If you gave us funding now, it would take us a year to get them open. So the truth of it is they would not be functional for the upcoming school year.
If we defer it, they would not be functional.
If you approved it, the
Right.
timeline is not going to change. If you approved it now, we still wouldn't open them next year. So
Right.
deferring it is not the end of the world for us.
So let me make sure I understand what you're saying. So if we approve it tonight, it's not opening in the fall of this year, obviously.
I'm sorry, sir, I'm getting guidance from my staff. It takes about 12 months to complete the project. So if you authorize it now, we wouldn't be able to begin construction until this summer. So in Mr. Golden's words, it wouldn't make an appreciable difference. I think what I would like to leave you with, though, is our school board has requested the funds, as you know, multiple years now. So a deferral beyond July would make it a 2-year deferral for use.
Right. Thank you.
Any further questions? All right. Resolution 517-9, move to defer. If you're in favor of deferment, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
16 yes, 6 no.
Resolution to defer passes, so we'll hear that again in July. Resolution 517-6, resolution requesting an intent to fund in the amount of up to $10 million for the Williamson County Board of Education for the purpose of funding an ESCO agreement for replacement of certain assets. Commissioner Herbert? Commissioner Little, the second. School Board, 12 yes, 0 no. Education Committee?
7 yes, 0 no.
Budget Committee? 4 yes, 0 no. All right. Explanation, Commissioner Herbert.
This is, do you want me to make the amendment to the resolution first before I do the, or do the explanation first?
Okay. Either way.
Let me do the explanation, then I'll do the amendment. It is a contract with Train to provide district-wide energy-saving programs in the amount of $10 million. And actually, it probably needs a more longer version explanation from Dr. Looney, but let me go on and do the amendment. Whereas the Williamson County Board of Commissioners and the Williamson County Board of Education acknowledge and agree to negotiate in good faith a memorandum of understanding providing that Williamson County government shall retain any and all utility cost savings realized from the energy-saving portions to reimburse Williamson County for the payment of principal and interest on the bonds, notes, and any other related purpose.
All right. Proper motion. Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Little, the second. Any discussion on the amendment? Commissioner Hallsbrook? Okay, thank you. Commissioner Danner on the amendment? Okay. I see no other discussion.
I don't know why I'm not on there, but can I ask a question?
Yes.
I just don't understand the amendment. What is it achieving that the original resolution did not have?
The amendment would specify that there would be an MOU between the bodies as to the savings, and so therefore, when the savings was achieved, it would not go back into the education budget, but would in fact be returned to the general obligation budget for appropriation by the county commission.
Okay. Any further discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of the amendment of Resolution 517-6, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
All right. Resolution 517-6, the amendment passes. Now we're back to the main resolution as amended. Commissioner Danner, did you?
Yes, I have a question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Does this resolution allow the county to pursue all types of funding or just the QECP?
Well, It's an intent to fund, and it does specify an expectation for bonding, but I don't think we're limited to that.
Okay.
All right.
I just didn't want it to limit us. I didn't know if we should make an amendment to allow us to pursue all types of funding.
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay, all right.
Any other discussion? You ready to vote? If you're in favor of Resolution 517-6 as amended, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 517.
Mr. Chairman, would it be appropriate to take about a 10-minute break at this point?
Yes, it would.
I'm sensing that some parents have kids that they want to get home.
Yeah. You, well, we just did. Yeah, yeah.
I missed that. I was reading the next resolution.
I mean,
We studied that with Tom Williamson about 4 years ago. We looked at it, and it's hard. There's limited set of buyers, and the city, because Franklin did, but I think that's a great move. If you get out of that, and even if you get 15 million and you put that towards debt service, that's a long way. See, we went down and saw Kelly and operation. Oh, you did? Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah. I thought it was for you. Me and Jay Galbraith were there.
If everybody take their seats, we'll get started.
I know, you can't do everything. But I got to sit at a table with your cohort there.
All right, Resolution 5-1710, a resolution declaring the intent of Williamson County to reimburse itself for certain expenditures relating to public works projects with the proceeds of general obligation bonds, which may include one or more series of qualified energy conservation bonds and/or county district school bonds to be issued in an approximate amount of $12 million. Commissioner Alsbrooks. Commissioner Dwight Jones, the second. Budget Committee. 4-0, yes. Education Committee. 7-4-0, yes. All right. Explanation, Commissioner Alsbrooks.
Chairman, there's also an amendment.
Okay.
Go ahead and offer that.
All right. It's the same as the one before?
It's the same as Resolution 5-17-6 that we just voted on.
Okay. Can we just make note of that? Yes. All right. Duly noted. There's a proper amendment. Do I have a second? Mr. Dwight Jones, second. So Resolution 5-1710, not on the amendment? Okay. Any discussion on the amendment? I see none. Is the amendment loaded? Okay. Okay. If you're in favor of amending Resolution 5-1710, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. All right. Back to the main resolution as amended. Commissioner Little?
Yes, I just was curious. The last resolution was 10 million for the thing, but this one that provides the funding is for 12 million. Why does one need 10 and one need 12?
Is Leslie, can you answer that, or? I don't know.
I'm Jeff Oldham, attorney at Bassbury and Sims, bond counsel to the county. So this resolution is largely ours. The last resolution you adopted for $10 million was a funding resolution, and $10 million. And it was for energy projects. Energy projects are unique in that they can be funded two different ways. They can be funded with traditional tax-exempt bonds, or they can be funded with what qualified energy conservation bonds. It's a special sort of souped-up version of essentially tax-exempt bonds that the federal government provides an additional incentive for to fund energy conservation projects. But they only allow it in certain limited amounts. And the way they limit it is they give states allocation of QECB, bond allocation, and counties and cities like Williamson County to issue these bonds have to apply to the state to get some of that allocation. So we learned of the $10 million funding resolution, and then as we talked about it with the schools and Nina realized that these QECB bonds were an option, maybe not the best route, And that's a decision to come later, whether to do tax-exempt bonds or QECBs. But if we're going to preserve the option at all, we've got to get an allocation from the state. And one of the things the state requires is some sort of resolution, they really don't care what it looks like, that expresses the intent of this body to perhaps do a QECB deal. That's all that this resolution does. It does not change, in my view, it doesn't change the funding resolution you approved. I mean, if you read it, it is an intent to reimburse, really a reimbursement resolution. So if the number's going to change from 10 to 12, that would need to be that need to be another funding resolution that would have to come through, I guess, the school board and this board to bring it up to 12. We thought, while we're at it, we think it's likely that when you do QECBs, it may get a little north of 10. We ought to go ahead and get as much allocation as we can get. There's no harm. Doesn't cost anything. And so that's the reason for the discrepancy between 10 and 12 million. If all goes well and you approve this, we'll apply to the state for allocation. You'll have $12 million of bonds that you are allowed to issue if you want to. If you don't want to issue them, you don't have to. And then you'll have the choice whether to fund projects with QECBs or tax-exempt bonds, and you'll get to choose the amount. And so far, it's only $10 million. That all makes sense? It's an awful subject, and I apologize for having to talk about it.
So just as follow-up, if we get the 12 million, we've not obligated ourselves to borrow 12 million.
Not at all.
Okay, that was my concern.
Stand by. Commissioner Danner?
But no matter what, I supported this because no matter what, the schools are going to borrow the money, and they're going to pay the principal and the interest, correct?
The premise behind these projects is that the cost savings pay the debt service.
All right. Thank you very much. Any further questions on 51710 as amended? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 51710 as amended, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 51711, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 Election Commission budget by $6,104.60, revenues to come from City of Fairview, Town of Nolensville, and Town of Thompson Station. Commissioner Alsbrooks.
Second.
Mr. Little, the second. Budget Committee. Explanation, Commissioner Alsbrooks.
Yes, this is reimbursement from City of Fairview, Town of Nolensville, and Town of Thompson Station for elections that have been held.
All right. Commissioner Kestner?
Prior resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Okay. Didn't see you. All right. You ready to vote? If you're in favor of Resolution 51711, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 51712, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 Election Commission budget by $23,448.70, revenues to come from county general fund balance. Commissioner Alsbrooks?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Dwight Jones, the second. Let's see, Budget Committee?
440 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Jones. Alsbrooks, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. This is reimbursement expenses for the federal, state, and municipal elections for the 2016-17.
Okay. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 51712, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 51713, Resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 capital projects budget by $150,000 for additional engineering costs, revenues to come from unappropriated highway fund balance. Commissioner Green?
I'll move for approval.
Commissioner Dwight Jones, a second. Highway Commission, 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee?
4-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Green.
This is money spent that's out of the scope of the annual operating budget of Williamson County Highway Department, and it's looking at concept plans for the different highways throughout the county, Arno Road being one of those that they looked at, and this is to recover those expenses.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 5-17-13, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 5-17-14, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 library budget by $12,000, revenues to come from library fines. Commissioner Green?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Little, the second. Library Board?
5-4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
4-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Green.
This is from a reliable fund we get out there for library fees, fines that people pay to extend the life of their book.
Any discussion? Anybody got a library book that's overdue? If you're in favor of Resolution 5-17-14, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 5-17-15, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 library budget by $7,000. No, what's that?
It's this number in the
Oh, okay, $7,025.89. Commissioner Green?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Dwight Jones, the second. Library Board?
7-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Green.
These are donations, memorials that the library receives, and we use it to purchase supplies and materials.
All right. Any discussion? All right.
Why can't we combine these two? Well, I feel like I've asked this before. Why do we have to separate these? For their donations for the library?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's two different line items with the library board.
Yeah, okay.
Can't find a way to combine them?
No.
All right, I'll ask it
It only
again next year.
takes 2 minutes to pass these resolutions. It's not a big deal.
Combine them.
Oh,
Votes
okay.
are different, and then
All
the
right.
next one was voted on by the library board, the next one.
Okay. Linda also said one was voted on 1 month, and then the next month, the second one was
Because we
voted
didn't
on
have
by
a
the
meeting, we
library.
didn't have a commission.
All right.
Yeah.
So, ready to vote? If you're in favor of Resolution 5-17-15, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 5-17-16, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 General Sessions Veterans Court budget by $4,000, revenues to come from court costs. Commissioner Sturgeon? Mr. Little, the second. Law Enforcement Committee?
7-4-0 against.
All right. Budget Committee?
4-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Sturgeon.
Yeah, these are fees collected by the courts, and they're required for drug and alcohol tests.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 5-17-16, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Greg? Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 5-1717, resolution accepting the donation of a 2009 Ford multi-passenger van on behalf of the Williamson County Parks and Rec Department. Commissioner Clark? Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Jones? Commissioner Little, the second. Parks and Rec Committee? Property Committee?
4-4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
4-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Jones.
Where it's moved over to Parks and Rec. It's a 2009 passenger van.
All right. Any discussion? I've seen none. If you're in favor of Resolution 5-1717, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 5-1718, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 Parks and Rec budget by $6,053.54. Revenues to come from donations. Commissioner Clark?
Move for
I'm
approval.
sorry, Commissioner Jones.
Second.
Commissioner Little, the second. Parks and Rec Committee?
4-4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
4-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Jones.
Yes, sir. This is money donated by the Brentwood Ball Club to pay for a gator, but they're donating the money so it belongs to Parks and Rec.
Okay. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 5-1718, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution, Resolution 5-1719, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 Parks and Rec budget by $69,375.63, revenues to come from donations. Commissioner Jones?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Clark, the second. Parks and Rec Committee?
4-4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
4-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Jones.
Yes, this is donations from various organizations throughout the county for officials and things.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 5-1719, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Todd? Yeah. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 5-1720, resolution amending the 5-year capital improvements budget and appropriating up to $260,000 recreation privilege tax funds for the construction of various parks and recreation projects. Commissioner Jones?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Herbert, the second. Parks and Rec Committee?
4-4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
4-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Jones.
Yes, this is some extra costs at the Franklin Rec Center, a gym replacement at Academy Park, some racquetball courts at Longview. All this is coming out of a privilege tax fund.
Okay. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 5-1720, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Oh, right here? Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Next, we're doing late file Resolution 5-1733, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 Health Department budget by $18,330, revenues to come from state grant funds. Commissioner Osbrooks?
Second.
Commissioner Dwight Jones, the second. Budget Committee? Explanation, Commissioner Osbrooks.
Yes, this is the third year for the Williamson County Health Department to receive tobacco grant funds. This is part of a continuation award that they've received.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions? I see none. If you're in favor of late file resolution 51733, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 51724, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to grant a license to Charles Cruz for limited access to adjacent property. Commissioner Osbrooks?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Beathard? Property Committee?
4-0 against.
Let's see, which one of y'all want to explain? All right, okay, Commissioner Beathard.
This is a property owner that abuts our landfill, and this resolution will allow him access to his land.
All right. Any questions? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 51724, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Kathy? Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 51725, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute a lease agreement with Premier Equity LLC. Commissioner Osbrooks?
Move for approval.
Second.
Property Committee?
4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Beathard.
This is leasing back a portion of the building at 300 Beasley Drive to a current tenant, and it mirrors the next resolution, 51726.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 51725, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 51726, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute a lease agreement with New Genie Group Incorporated. Commissioner Beathard.
I told Commissioner Osbrook she ought to take this one just to confuse you.
It doesn't take
Move for
much to
approval.
confuse me.
Second.
Property Committee?
4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
4-0 against.
Explanation.
Same building, different tenant.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 51726, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 51727, resolution authorizing retirement credit for military service rendered in the armed forces of the United States during the Persian Gulf War in accordance with Title 8, Section 34 through 37 of the Tennessee Code Annotated. Commissioner Osbrook?
Move for approval.
Who's my second? Oh, Commissioner Ricky Jones. Human Resources Committee?
5-0 against.
Budget Committee?
4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Osbrook.
Yes, this is a retirement credit for those who have served during the Persian Gulf War.
All righty. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 51727, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Greg? Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 51729, resolution accepting a donation of a German Shepherd Canine from Nashville Canine LLC on behalf of the Williamson County Sheriff's Department. Commissioner Sturgeon. Commissioner Dwight Jones, the second. Law Enforcement Committee.
4-4-0 against.
Budget Committee.
4-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Sturgeon.
Yeah, this is a resolution accepting the donation of the German Shepherd that was here tonight from Nashville Canine.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 5-1729, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Resolution 5-1730, resolution authorizing the county mayor to execute a contract between the State of Tennessee Department of Transportation and Williamson County for a trash collecting grant for fiscal year 2017-18. Commissioner Sturgeon.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Dwight Jones, the second. Law Enforcement Committee.
7-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Sturgeon. Dang. Done that twice.
Yeah, this is a resolution accepting a grant that helps us collect trash around the county.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 5-1730, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. All right. Resolution 5-1731, resolution to establish a joint task force in conjunction with the Williamson County School Board for the purpose of evaluating and recommending a predictable and sustainable plan for funding a long-term K-12 educational facilities investment strategy. Commissioner Payer? Okay. Proper motion, is there a second? Okay, Commissioner Milliken, second. So motion's been made to defer. Any discussion? You can discuss on the defer. Okay, any discussion? Huh?
How long is it deferred for?
Till, what'd you say, David? Till June? Well, we don't meet in August. You want to defer it to the July meeting? Okay, till July. So, it's on the board. All in favor of deferring?
Wait a minute, Jack, we've got defer to June up there because that was, do you want to? Well, because that's what the other committees voted on, but we can change it, it'll take a minute.
You good with June, or you want to do July?
No, he
wants July.
Okay.
We're changing,
Yeah.
it's changed now.
Okay. Good job. All right. If you're in favor of Resolution 5-1731 to defer it till the July meeting, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. All right. That resolution is deferred. Resolution 5-1732, a resolution setting the Williamson County Hotel Motel tax rate for the fiscal year 2017-2018. Who's that? Commissioner Kestner? Oh, Commissioner Lawrence? All right. Tax Study Committee?
I'm trying to find, I think it was 4-4-0 against. I believe
It's
it was
got
4 people.
three here, but
Okay,
that's
yeah,
okay.
there was only 3 there.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Budget Committee? 4-4-0 against. Explanation, Commissioner Lawrence.
It's what we do every year. We set the motel tax rate at 4%. So we kept it the same as it has been.
Okay. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 51732, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. Late file Resolution 51733, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 Health Department budget by $18,330, revenues to come from state.
We've already done that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Late file Resolution 51734, resolution to express the intent of the Williamson County Board of Commissioners to use revenue generated by the educational impact fee for debt and interest on qualified school projects. Commissioner Herbert?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Kestner the second. Budget Committee? Explanation, Commissioner Herbert.
When we originally did the impact fee, it was just for capital projects. Due to so many school projects we're having to fund now, this is so we can use some of that revenue from that impact fee to pay the notes on the new school buildings.
Okay. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of late file Resolution 51734, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Any,
Point of order, I need to know is that the Education Committee approved that 7-0 also.
oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss that?
Well, did we actually have it to vote on?
It's
Can you
not on
remember?
there.
Made the motion to draft the resolution and then passed it. And we vote on it that way.
Okay.
Should it not be on there?
All right. Yeah, well, I apologize. Education Committee wasn't listed on here. And Budget Committee just voted on the kind of the concept. And they didn't have a resolution. Mayor?
For clarification, both the Education and Budget Committee, in the minutes, we didn't have the resolution prepared, and so that's why the resolution's
Okay.
here to get everybody's involvement, Jack.
All right, okay, thank you. You ready to vote? Oh, we did vote? No, I don't think we did.
It's locked, you just gotta read it.
They're ready.
Oh, they're ready to vote. Kate wants to go home. No.
They've already voted.
Oh, record the vote, Ms. Anderson. All right. I believe that wraps up our agenda. Oh. Well, which one is that? I thought we deferred that one.
36
No.
is the one they objected
Oh,
to.
okay. This resolution 51735, resolution to express the intent of the Williamson County Board of Commissioners to reallocate 3 cents of the 5 cents previously earmarked for highway purposes to the general and rural debt service funds. Commissioner Ford?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Kestner the second. Let's see, that go to any committees?
Yes, sir.
Don't believe it did. Explanation, Commissioner Ford?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the things I've enjoyed about this process is the number of ideas that have come out. A lot of creative people on the commission here, a lot of creative people in the mayor's office, a lot of creative people in the public have come up with a lot of ideas. This just provides the Budget Committee with some flexibility as we move into funding the school projects. So this is intended to give them the flexibility. It doesn't lock us into doing that, but the Budget Committee and the mayor's office wanted to know that the commission was behind ideas like this.
Right.
So this is one of a myriad of ideas that we can use to fund those projects.
Okay. Commissioner Webb, you have anything to add?
No, I think he's got a good idea.
Okay. Commissioner Kestner?
Number?
The 3 cents, Commissioner Kessler, thank you for the question, through the chair. 3 cents seemed to be adequate to cover the debt service for the Page and the Brentwood projects that we have voted on tonight. That leaves us some additional flexibility, does not take all the money out of the highway fund in 1 year, and it leaves us some flexibility if we need to in the future that there's 2 cents still left in there.
And is this temporary, or is this a permanent?
We'll
I guess
vote
we
on
set
the
them every year.
We'll vote on the tax rate and set the tax rate every year.
Right.
So we'll have the flexibility to move that in and out as a different funding comes available. We look at different mechanisms of how to fund these projects. If we look at interest only, we may not need this much money in there as we look at different alternatives. This is just one of those alternatives.
Commissioner Smith, you have anything to add? You're co-sponsor. All right. Commissioner Little?
My question has to do with the maintenance of effort, because I know we're required by law to have a maintenance of effort with our highway funds, and if we pull this out, what does that do to us in the budget towards that maintenance of effort?
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chairman, the maintenance of effort will be met. We've already met with Greg and the Highway Department, Nina and I, so you're actually moving those pennies around. You'll reduce some of the funding that will come out of county general because you can't just take it away, as you know, for the maintenance of effort. But it has already been calculated and met and agreed on the Highway Department too.
Are you good, Tommy? Commissioner Herbert?
I guess, you know, I feel like this is kind of thrown in at the end. I know we've discussed it, and Eddie's not here. I just wanted to verify through the mayor. So the Highway Department has approved it?
Again, the Highway Commission the other day, was it 4 or 5-0? I think we had 5 members, they approved it, 5-0, because they're not losing any money. We're just shifting money from other sources.
But with this one, we have the flexibility. We can change it from year to year. I mean, 1 year we can give 2 cents or 1 year 3 cents.
That is correct.
And I guess my other question is, does this 3 cents go to the operational budget of the schools or the capital projects of the schools?
No, it'll go to the rural debt and the general debt. 2 pennies going to rural, 1 going to GO.
Okay. I hadn't had a chance to really read it good. I'm sorry.
Commissioner Sturgeon?
My original question was, is it getting replaced by more money coming to us from the state? No. But you just said we're shifting stuff around, so the highway, how is it that we're taking it from the highway, but then the highway's getting money from, where else are they replace it from?
There's several pockets of money, Mr. Chairman. There's several pockets of money that the highway gets their funding from. But certainly one of those is the business taxes. If you remember, the whole intent of this was last year, when we asked for the flexibility to take the mandatory of the nickel away from being mandatory in our special act. I think that act has actually been voted on in the legislature. I'm not sure about that, but I do know the governor hasn't signed it yet, but it shouldn't be any problem. You think it has been approved?
I don't know if it's been signed yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's been signed. So that'll come back to you next month, and you'll ratify that, and that just simply says we are no longer asking for that nickel to be put on the tax rate for the highway department. Now, you have the flexibility. The commissioner's suggestion here is to be able to find some monies, and so that money is coming from the highway department over to our side. The highway money generates about $220,000. Is that correct, Nina? Whereas over on our side, in the rural debt and in the general debt, it's about 800,000 on one of them and $1.2 million on the other one. So you're moving it from one fund over to here, which will generate more money. But the highway doesn't suffer. They still get their same amount of money, something else. I've got to take you back to the last 2 or 3 years. The maintenance of effort was the reason Tommy asked me to come up here. Every year, maintenance of efforts are in several of our funds. One's the highway department, one's the school department, there are several others that you have to maintain. If you don't do that, you don't receive state funding. So every year for the last 2 or 3 years, we've shifted money from the highway department to be sure that our maintenance of effort was hitting the ceiling and not escalating on us, because each year that goes up, our maintenance of effort also rises. So we were capping that off. Nina's doing our calculations, checking with Greg to be sure that we absolutely make our minimum to the top of that line, a little bit over, because each year the state funds it based on what you did last year. If it got up another $1 million, then your maintenance of effort just continues to grow.
goes down.
Yeah. So it's just moving pennies around, like Jeff said.
Thank you.
Commissioner Pear?
Mr. Chairman, this may be a question for the mayor. I understand the state is going to send $55 million to the county highway departments. Do you know how much money we're going to be getting from that just this year?
Hey, David, turn your microphone on.
The question was, Greg, do you know how much money we're actually getting from the state? I know there was a last-minute deal Friday, Saturday, and I don't know what happened this afternoon. I know the speaker.
That's the state aid. We haven't gotten that.
Yeah. That has nothing to do with this. That'd be state aid money that goes directly for the bridges and for the roads, for the maintenance of those. It has nothing to do with this pot of money. That's another pot of money.
Commissioner Milliken?
Well, I don't see my mic in the middle of it. Okay, you can hear me just fine.
I can hear you.
Being quiet's not my issue. I struggle. I got a call from someone in the state revenue office telling me what a terrible idea this was. I struggle with this because we all know we have a funding issue, a funding problem coming, and it feels like we're robbing Peter to pay Paul. But it would appear that Peter has voted 5-0 to be robbed. To me, this seems as though we're forestalling in a way that which is necessary, which is to increase revenue by shifting in the budget creatively. And while I applaud the effort, because I think it's a smart thing, it would seem that we're doing this to avoid a tax increase which is coming anyway. And I struggle with the idea of taking funding away from some parts of our county to give it to other parts which need it, but we still need more funding given anyway. There's not a question in there, everybody. That's what I'm struggling with this.
All right, is that all?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Commissioner Danner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Along the lines of some of the others, and the mayor, I know I asked this in the budget committee. I've got constituents that see this and they just want to make sure that the highway fund is not getting robbed to the point that our county roads are going to suffer. And I'm comfortable that in the years I've been on the commission, we always have to hold back. We collect more than adequate funding for the highways, and all this does is allow us to move it from the highway department, which we've never been able to do. We can backfill the highway fund by several different ways. We just couldn't take it out of the highway fund and put it to the schools. It's just, quite honestly, giving us more local control and untying our hands to be able to do with the money what we need to do when we need to do it.
All right. Any further discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of late file resolution 5/17/35, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Resolution passes. I think that concludes everything on the agenda. Mayor, did you have anything to report?
The new mayor of Brentwood, for you that are represented, is Jill Bergen, and the vice mayor is Mark Gorman. After got them sworn in, and then of course they took action on the $2.4 million of the adequate school facility tax to roll it here. And Commissioner, now a commissioner, Smithson asked that I make Dr. Ken Moore and Franklin aware aware of what they have done, and so I guess I'm doing that now. And then I will take some liberties tomorrow to suggest they do the same thing on their adequate school facility tax, just like Brentwood. Because I will
luck.
say this, well, I think for the first time in a long time, through the efforts of a lot of you, through Sam Cruz and especially Nina, did a lot of hard work behind the scenes. A lot of us there's a lot of moving parts in all this school funding, and you know that. And it's not going to go away. And so we've started the journey on the short term, and what Brentwood did was very critical. What we've got to do down the road is continue this dialogue and this creativity that we've got. And we won't all agree on everything that we've got to do. But I did see for the first time during this whole process, bar none, that the cities are seeing that the impact of the growth, and I think Todd has said this over and over, and many of you have said it also, that about 86% of our growth is coming out of our cities, out of the 6 cities. And for the very first time, I'm seeing there's a willingness on some of the cities to help with this school, because the school is the golden goose, and it's what's bringing in people here. But at the same time, we need to be mindful of our taxes, our property taxes for our businesses, because there are people moving here every day to go to work here. And so it's going to be a balancing act on all of us to see how we do this, because it's uncharted ground. So I appreciate Commissioner Smithson asking me to report that and send out the feelers to the other mayors, and I will do that. But I also see a willingness now. Of course, Brentwood's first, and as we go down this journey, I hope there are many other cities that will be able to help us about this school funding. I think the rest of it is our responsibility to making those decisions. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. What time is it? What time is it?